If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
As you can see, we have Joe Nasty himself, Jonas Flok, on the show. He returns to action on September 27th. He will take on Bryce Logan at LFA 77. How are you, Jonas?
I'm doing well, doing very well. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. 8 wins in a row heading into this fight. Your LFA debut on the 27th. What would you say has been the recipe for your success here? Because, yeah, you're winning, but you're also finishing pretty much everybody you're in the cage with. What has been the secret to this incredible run you're on, do you think?
Yeah, I think, if I remember right, I only have one that went the distance since I've switched gyms. So I think switching gyms about, it was 2 years ago this last March. I switched down to Pure Vita down in Milwaukee from Highland Fight Systems in Sheboygan. Got a solid game plan together, and I think these coaches have really helped me out.
What I find kind of interesting is right now, especially in the state of MMA in 2019, you seem to be a guy that is tailor-made or was tailor-made for something like the Contender Series being on the run that you're on. I mean, you've won more fights in the streak that you're on right now than a majority of the guys on that show have in total fights, including their amateur careers. So, was there ever any interest, any inquiries about getting you on the Contender Series at all?
Yeah, there was a little talk about it between me, my coaches, and management. We all were looking at it, but it just didn't fall into place this year. So keep on trucking, and hopefully we can squeeze in somewhere.
Was it just a timing thing, or did you just feel like this wasn't the right opportunity at this point in your career?
It might have been a little bit of timing thing. Coming off my last fight, I did have a little bit of an injury, so I kind of nursed that a little bit, and coming back off of that, I think just didn't fall into place right.
Selfishly, and I apologize if this is sort of a redundant question, but I love these stories about how you guys and gals find the sport, how you begin this journey into getting in the cage and fighting another human being, because maybe I just want to live vicariously through you all since I'm not willing to do that. But how did you and MMA come together? What got you into the gym for the first time? What about the sport made you think, man, I got to do this?
First time I even really saw it, heard about it, I was wrestling in college up in Sheboygan, and I saw the Ultimate Fighter series, that first series, and I kind of liked it. It was pretty cool stuff, and I always thought I could do it. So just something in the back of my mind, never really planned on pursuing it. Turns out my younger brother tried to pursue it. He got himself booked in a fight. They were looking for a last-minute person, so he's like, you want to do it? Took the fight, and I've been hooked ever since.
And now look at you. You're moving on, getting ready to fight Bryce Logan, South Dakota guy, 10-4 as a pro. He's been in there with some really tough guys. I know he fought Grant Dawson. I was there when he fought Nate Andrews for CES. He's certainly a very tough opponent. Did you know a lot about Bryce when you signed the dotted line?
I knew very little about him. I knew a name and a record. That was about it.
You mentioned, the difference between where you were a couple of years ago to where you're at now, and a big part of it was training at Pure Vita with guys like Zach Otto. You got guys like O'Day Osborne there, Montel Jackson's there, and a lot of others. There's a lot of great talent in that room on a day-to-day basis. It's one of the more under-the-radar teams in the sport right now, considering the up-and-coming talent in that room. What has that been like, just seeing the growth, seeing the notoriety that the gym is starting to get these days?
It's been amazing. Even me coming over 2.5 years ago now, the team was really just coming together at that time. That's when Montel came over. That's when Tim Hiley came over. A lot of the new guys that are younger coming up, Nelly Thompson, me, we all kind of came in the gym around the same time. And then shortly after, we got Alton, and now we got Kalen and O'Day. It's just awesome having all these killers around me.
For those who have not seen you fight before, what can Bryce Logan, what can the fans that are going to be in the building in Minnesota on September 27th, the fans watching on Access TV, what can everybody expect on September 27th?
I think they can expect to finish. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to put the beat on them. My hands are looking a lot better. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable on my feet these past two fights, so I predict to finish in probably the second round.
Now, if all goes the way you hope it will, that's going to be 9 wins in a row for you. Like, where do you go from there? Like, once September 28th hits, I mean, you have to think your time is very close to getting a call. Is that what you're hoping for? Is that what you believe will come your way? Or do you not try to prepare for that kind of stuff and hope it's like, that last second holiday gift that you wanted but didn't think you'd get until like your parents said like, look behind that bookshelf, I think I see something there type of moment? Like, how do you approach the future if all goes well on September 27th?
Sure. Definitely looking for that call, keeping that open, but we're just going to stay busy and keep plugging fights out there and, keep our fingers crossed. If it happens, it happens, but we're not going to just sit back and wait for it.
Nah, I think that's something that Zach would tell you. Just be like, dude, it'll happen. We'll get you booked on something. So, if there's one thing you've improved on since going to that gym, what do you think's the biggest difference between the guy that showed up on day one to the guy that's sitting in front of us right now?
Definitely blending in my stand-up and my takedown game together. Instead of compartmentalizing them into just having stand-up or just having ground, I can really mix those two together now and use my strikes and the takedowns.
Yeah, I remember talking to O'Day after his Contender Series win, and I was like, what do you think the biggest difference has been? He goes, when I showed up to Pure Vita, they were just like, dude, you're so athletic, be athletic. And he was like, what? I can do this kind of stuff? Like, do you feel like a little more freeing knowing that the coaches want you to just excel at what you can excel at, like what you're great at?
Oh, very much. It's not a cookie cutter program at all. They just want to take your best assets and accelerate them no matter what it is, whether it's ground, whether it's hands, whether it's just pure athleticism. There's no set system at this gym, and I love it.
Jonas Flok back at it September 27th against Bryce Logan. LFA 77. Catch it all on Access TV if you can't make it to the arena. Great chat with you, man. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can follow you on the web, social media, anything else you want to get off your chest, man. The floor is yours.
Sure. You can follow me on Instagram at JonasFlok or on Facebook at Jonas Flok.
Thank you, Jonas. I appreciate the time, man. All the best to you on September 27th. And say hello to Zach for me. Good guy.
Will do.